Let me begin by saying hello. My name is Rachel Mason. I am the Associate Director of First Year Recruitment here at UMass Amherst. I am also an unapologetically enthusiastic alum. And what I want to first say to you all is congratulations. Congratulations on your acceptance to UMass Amherst. This is an amazing accomplishment for your students and for your family as well. This was the most challenging admission cycle that we've ever experienced here at UMass, and it really is an accomplishment. And I hope that you're able to take a moment and really revel in where you are. I'm so glad that your student is considering enrolling at UMass Amherst, and I really hope that we're able to take today to share with you some information that will aid in your decision-making process. So let's talk a little bit about our agenda. Luckily, and I do mean this honestly, you are going to hear from our students and what their experience is and what it's like to be a student a day in the life of here at UMass Amherst. And I'll be happy to introduce you to them. And they'll talk about all aspects of being a student, not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom as well. Because really at UMass Amherst, we're so proud of not only the academic experience in the classroom, but outside and the community life as well. And we're going to be able to answer your questions. I'm sure you have a lot of them. We will do our best. Please certainly put them into the Q&A that you see at the bottom of your screen there. We'll be able to answer those individually and live as well. In the chance that we run out of time, this is a continuing conversation, right? And we will provide you with the contact information so that you're able to continue to answer questions that we weren't able to get to today, but also questions that come up afterwards. We really want you to have all the information that you and your student need to make an informed decision and to choose UMass Amherst with confidence. And so we'll provide you with all that connection information. One opportunity that I do want to highlight is the admitted student events. Not only are there virtual events, but also admitted student days, and we're coming up on our destination day. All of our students, your student, are able to access the activities through their portal to register. I encourage them to continue to check their email so they're aware of all of these amazing opportunities. Also, we are, of course, recording today's session so that you can review the information if you want to, or perhaps share it with someone who wasn't able to attend today. Either way, we're really excited to have you. And with that, I'm going to jump right into introducing you to our students, right? That's the important piece here, not just me. And I'll start off with Bree. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Brianna. Feel free to call me Bree. I'm a senior in my last semester, really sad to say, but a senior double major with marketing and sport management, as well as a minor in African American studies. I'm from Bridgewater, Mass, about a 2-hour drive from campus, south of Boston, if anyone knows where that is. But on campus, like I said, I'm a tour guide. I love sharing my experience of being a UMass student. And I feel like now as a senior, I have to be like a big sister and pass on the baton to you guys. I'm also a resident assistant, so I live right here in the dorms with my residents, kind of like again the big sister on the floor, helping the Orchard Hill residents navigate being a young college student. My freshman year, I was live video production assistant, where I helped film UMass games. I have to admit, like, I wasn't the best at it, but it was my intro to sport. I got to learn a lot about it. I ended up filming a full court shot that showed up on ESPN's top 10, so that was really cool. But besides that, I'm also the president of Women's Sport Management. So if you can't tell by now, sports is the theme with me. But I'm really passionate about making way for women in the sport industry, given it is male dominated. And in my time here at UMass, I've had 3 internships, one of them in sport, or 2 of them in sport, one of them in the science tech industry. And all of them, have been through the help of UMass professors, UMass alumni. I've got to work with amazing professional talent, brands that we're activating in sport, so on and so forth. But enough about me. I'll pass it off to Elias.
Hi, everybody. Like Bree said, my name is Silas. I'm a freshman here at UMass, and I'm studying political science. So super excited to be here, sharing a little bit about my experiences, what it's like to be a student here at UMass, But to start off, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about myself, what I do on campus here in such a large community. So I'm involved with Crew, which is one of our religious organizations on campus. They have weekly meetings and prayers. Really helps me stay involved with my religion while I'm a student here at such a big university. I'm also a member of our radio station, WMUA, and I have a show every Tuesday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. where I play soul music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, talk about it, give a little bit of background information on artists, songs, and some story times sometimes. So that's a really fun way for me to share some of my musical interests. And I'm also a member of our Outings Club. So our Outings Club is one of the biggest clubs on campus. They do trips for hiking, rafting, surfing, skiing when there's snow on the mountains. So really great opportunity to be involved with the outdoors. And then athletically, I'm a member of our club tennis team. So there's 2 practices a week, and then we'll have matches a couple weekends a month. And then I also do pretty much any intramural sport you can think of. I've done basketball, soccer, 2-ball soccer, flag football, volleyball. So really just love staying involved athletically here at UMass, and I'm really glad that intramural sports give me an opportunity to do that. And I'm going to pass it off to Uma.
Hi, everybody. I'm Uma. I'm a freshman here at UMass. I'm a psychology major, so I'm in the College of Natural Sciences. I also recently transferred into the Commonwealth Honors College. I'm originally from New Jersey, where The Sopranos was filmed, if anyone has watched that show, one of my favorite shows. On campus, I also do like to stay involved. Academically, I'm in the ICONS program. ICONS is the 20-credit certification course, which is the applications are only for freshmen and sophomores. So you get into it as freshman or sophomore, you and about 60, 65 other students, so relatively smaller classes, and you really just get to focus on research right off the get-go. We are a really big research school here at UMass, so being able to do that as a freshman was really amazing and really interesting because I was meeting people with my same interests so soon on in my career here at UMass. Aside from ICONS, I do some other clubs on campus. I'm part of the Student Alumni Association. This club is really focused on connecting students to alumni and giving back to the community. So they have a program called the Ambassador Program, in which you really get to practice your networking skills and professional skills. For instance, some of our events coming up include meeting the new chancellor, which is really, really exciting and a little intimidating as a freshman, but it's definitely exciting to have these opportunities just out there. I also was a part of the University Programming Council. This is a really big event planning organization on campus. We do events like the spring concert. We did like a Bridgerton ball recently. So a lot of fun events, a lot of fun ways to get involved here on campus. If there's any questions on any of that, please feel free to send them in the chat, and I'll be passing it back to Bree.
Awesome. So we'll get started with the presentation. And if you have any questions at any point, feel free to send them in and we'll answer them either through the chat or aloud. But I'm going to get passed off to Salias to get us started with About UMass.
Yeah, so just to get us started here, I'm going to give you guys some quick snapshots about UMass, just a little bit of an overview of some of the stats that we have here at UMass. So we are proud to say that we're ranked number 26 among public universities by the U.S. News and World Report. So really great to be up with some world-class universities as a world-class university ourselves. Really great ranking there. We are located in Amherst, Massachusetts, voted one of the best college towns in America. Has great music venues, restaurants, shops, a really bustling and lively downtown area, which I'm excited to explore more once the weather gets a little bit warmer. We have more than 100 undergraduate degree programs that you can choose to major in. And if you choose that one of those doesn't exactly fit for you, we also have a build your own major program called Bachelor's Degree with Individualized Concentration that we'll touch on briefly later. We have more than 300 registered student organizations, or RSOs, and these RSOs span anywhere from the really large and popular ones, like the Outings Club that I mentioned earlier, to the really small and niche clubs, like the Lettuce Eating Club. So really great to have pretty much any interest filled among our registered student organizations here. We are also very proud to say that we have been ranked #1 in campus dining for 6 years in a row by the Princeton Review. So if you're worried that you might go hungry in college, you will not at UMass. You might eat a little bit too much, like I have. The freshman 15 is going strong just because the food is so good at our dining halls. And we are proud to say that we are among the top 30 campuses in the country for LGBT students. And we have a number of resources that are in place to help ensure these resources for those students that we will touch on later as well. Just a little bit of statistics for you guys to get a sense for what we're looking at as a total campus community. So we are 33% students of color. We're proud to say that UMass is made up of a number of different students from a number of different backgrounds, and we're really excited that we have that great percentage of diversity. 23% of UMass students are first-generation college students, so they're the first in their family to attend a four-year college or university. So just continuing that cycle of education. 23% are Pell Grant recipients, 23,146 undergrads, and then 7,000 grad students to make up a total population of about 30,000. We have 1,600 international undergrads, so great to have that large population of international students. Welcome if you are joining us internationally. And we are proud to say that our undergrad students come from 48 states. So it's not just Massachusetts, we are represented by almost all the states in the United States. So lots of great stuff going on here at UMass.
All right, sorry. To get us started, so good morning. Your student would be living in the Kennedy Hall in the Southwest residential area, and they're part of a residential academic program, also known as a RAP. RAPs are a way for students to get to know each other based on the floor that they live in, based on the dorms that they live in, because you're taking classes with about 20 to 25 other students living either on your floor, the floor above, floor below. In Southwest, in Kennedy specifically, I took the Kinesiology 100 RAP last semester, and I was pretty close to the Eisenberg School of Management, and I was pretty close to Herder Hall, but no matter where I was, like I was still able to easily walk to all my classes. And if Southwest is not the residential area for your student, they do have 4 other options. I'll just say a little bit about Southwest to start off because I do live there right now. Southwest is, I would say, if you're looking for a hustle and bustle, a city feel, Southwest is a residential area for you. It is the most densely populated square mile per capita after Manhattan on the eastern seaboard. So you really are getting that city feel in Southwest. These students are usually close to the Eisenberg School of Management, but where your major is or where your classes are usually does not dictate where you live. It's more about what you want and your vibe. Aside from Southwest, there is Central. Central is pretty centrally located. We are not creative with our residential area names here at UMass. It's pretty straightforward. So Central is centrally located. These students typically are closer to the humanities and fine arts buildings, but again, your major doesn't dictate where you live. Central has a pretty quiet vibe. I would say it does have that quintessential New England look, similar to the next residential area I'll be talking about, which would be Northeast. So Northeast does have that literal quintessential New England vibe. You've got the red brick, you've got the yellow on the windows. It's pretty small, a smaller community, just like Central. But Northeast is different than Central because these buildings are more close to our STEM buildings. I know people who literally wake up, roll out of bed, and they are at their class because their building is literally right next to their dorm. So Northeast students usually are STEM majors, but again, just depends on the kind of vibe that you want. Northeast and Central are a little bit quieter. The most quiet and the most small residential area on campus would be Orchard Hill, which is literally up a hill and it's tucked into a nice little apple orchard. It's our smallest and most quiet residential area on campus. So if your student is looking for something more secluded, then Orchard Hill would be a good choice for them. We like to say they have the best cabs on campus because they're constantly walking up and down that hill. So Silas was mentioning the freshman 15, it can easily be gained or lost by eating at the dining hall and walking up the hill a couple of times. Aside from different areas on campus, the most important part of living on campus is the people that you meet. All freshmen will be in a residential first year experience. And right here, we have a little video of a dorm. Alrighty, that was a 360-degree view of one of our dorms. If you are interested in what the dorms look like in different areas of campus, they look a little different depending on where you're at. Feel free to look up just UMass Amherst dorms 360 view, and you'll get a better idea of them. And again, it can play. Just a little bit more about the dorms themselves. So there are just freshmen living in your dorm, and programs like the RAP really do help you connect to these freshmen. And these RAP classes aren't meant to be hard. They're meant to really transition you into college. But if you're still taking one of these RAP classes, it can be a little daunting to meet other people. So there are plenty of other people living in your dorm with you that are not freshmen that can help you out. One of those would be a learning community graduate assistant. So these people provide academic success leadership for your first year residential communities, and they supervise what we call peer mentors. Peer mentors are upperclassmen. They're sort of your first point of contact with any academic questions, like how do I sign up for classes? What classes should I take? How do I make a plan for next semester? Your peer mentor will be there. They're always sending out letters for workshops they're holding about de-stressing. They host events, and this is very similar to an RA. An RA is a residential assistant. They live on your floor for the most part, and they're like your first point of contact for any question. Just, I don't know how to get to class. I don't know how to use my dining dollars. Your RA will be that first point of contact for you. It's really easy to just start to make friends from there. They'll be able to connect you to other people, to other resources. So even though you are living in a freshman only dorm, you are not completely resourceless. Like, you have so many other people living with you and who will be able to guide you through sort of the different processes of being a college freshman. I personally love my RA. She had like a cookie night the other night, and she had like a sip night where she had like hot chocolate and cookies and painting. It was a lot of fun. I got to meet new people. I dragged my roommate with me. So gotta love RAs and the event planning that literally happened in your dorm. You don't have to always leave your dorm to find new events on campus. A lot of them do happen just in your dorm with the community of people that you have. In terms of applying for housing, the preference application is available on Spire, which is our portal, from June 1st to July 14th. You can choose to be in a RAP, and by this, it's first come, first serve. So if you miss that deadline, which is around May, I believe, then you will not be able to secure placement in a RAP. And if you don't want to be in a RAP, you would just have to rank your areas of campus. For instance, you do like Southwest, Central, Northeast, etc. If you were to be in a RAP, you would just rank the specific RAPs that you would like. The application itself, it's lottery based. For RAPs, it's first come, first serve, but for the general housing application, it is lottery based. So there's nothing you can do to improve your chances, nothing you do to hurt your chances. And the housing assignments themselves will be released in August, giving you time to find a roommate or even just get to know your roommate. Speaking of roommates, there's two ways to find a roommate. You can either go random, but we like to say that's not so random, or you can do a mutual request. In terms of going random, you fill out a 5 or so question survey, and it's just simple questions. They're not trying to find you your best friend. You just need someone that you can live with. These questions are just, do you like keeping the light on at night? How late do you like to go to bed? Are you a clean person? Are you okay with people borrowing your stuff? Pretty standard questions to just help you find the best person that you can help live with. In terms of mutually requesting a roommate, that's something specific where you can choose to find a roommate on our Facebook group chat, on apps like Patio, on Instagram, and your student would just put a little blurb about themselves in a photo being like, hi, I'm accepted into UMass. I'm looking for a roommate, preferably in this area. A lot of students are putting their bios out there, so it's not an embarrassing thing at all. It's very, very common, and students will often reach out to each other, form like roommate groups. The standard is a double, but you could request to be in a single, whichever your student would like. And you get each other's contact information and really get to know each other. And another way to meet your roommate, if you were to do a mutual request, would be the summer new student orientation. This is where you come on campus for like a day or two. You could also do it virtual, and you do different breakout sessions with different people admitted into the same class as your student. And it's a really great way to meet people and just sort of get a feel of what campus is like. But the one good thing with mutual roommate requests is they are mutual. If I wanted to live with someone, they did not want to live with me back, then we would not be living together because they did not request me back. We both have to request each other. And for the most part, almost all mutual roommate requests are granted, and almost everyone gets their top pick in terms of housing. I have not heard of anyone getting their second pick, much less their third pick. For the most, you are getting the roommate that you'd like if you request one, and you are getting the housing that you like.
Awesome. So, we talked about living in the dorms and what that was like. Now talking about classes, your student will learn very quickly if they're a morning person or an afternoon person. And that changes within your time here at UMass freshman year. Coming out of high school, I was really used to getting up at 8 a.m. Now I prefer to get up after 10. But, you'll see when you're picking classes here at UMass, especially, during your ready to the U time and things like that, when you're meeting with your advisor, You'll have the opportunity to choose from so many different classes as a first year. UMass is not about putting their students in boxes. Your student will have the opportunity to choose a range of, different gen eds that they'd like, intro classes to their majors, so on and so forth. You are in charge of, or your student is in charge of their own schedule. That's kind of where they get the independence from the parents. They're in charge of their own schedule and they get to tailor it to the way that they want. Obviously, given the advice of upperclassmen, you as their parents, and other advisors as well. But they can choose if they want to have a 10 a.m. and then have a lunch break and have no classes from 12 to 1 and then take a night class at like 6 p.m. It's just up to your student on how they want to make it. And there's a time period to when you first start picking classes on like if you want to change the class time or so on and so forth. You definitely have that freedom and period as well. But talking more about the freshman year schedule, as you're a freshman learning campus, you're going to be a little nervous, maybe get lost a couple times. Just know that your student always has about 15 minutes to get from one class to another. And you'll notice this too about the time of classes. Like some classes will start at 9:05 or will end at 12:15. Like you kind of always have like those weird 5-15 minute beginning and endings of classes. And that's just to make sure that all students can get to their classes on time. That's obviously important for your student here as well. And you'll notice that our academic ring is about 15-minute, from one end to the other. And the academic ring is just where all the classes are. So I remember freshman year, one of my classes was in Eisenberg. And then to get all the way to Marcus Hall, which is the other side of campus, it took me a little under 15 minutes to get there. So I was never late to class, even though it was on the opposite side of our academic ring. The credit load here at UMass is, up to you. We definitely have overrides if possible, but the average student takes or has the maximum to take 19 credits. I would say it falls more on like the 15, 16 credit. This semester right now, I'm enrolled in 4 classes. My freshman year, I was enrolled in 5, but I remember I had like 3 gen ed classes. One was like food science and preservation, where we got to learn on like how food expiration dates are like not as true. That was interesting to me. I also took a class about African American music and revolutionary concepts for one of my gen ed requirements. That was actually covered my history and art requirement. So you notice that when you're taking gen ed classes, you can find one class that covers 2 gen ed requirements, which is cool. And I had like a math requirement as well, and then I had some of my intro classes. So I got to balance of like not just focusing on marketing and sport, but I also got to explore other things as well. And that's personally how I discovered my minor in Afro-AM. So definitely, take advantage or make sure your students taking advantage of those classes, because you never know, you might discover another major, another minor, or just enjoy a class you're interested in. Some of these classes range from 20 people, 20-person classes to 200 classes. Me personally, I came from a large high school, so I wasn't fazed by being in those larger classrooms. I believe in the picture in the bottom left is one of our largest lectures. That's Mahar. But again, when you're picking classes, you can see how many students is capped for each class. So some classes are capped at 75 students, some are capped at 200. You can usually find a mixture of, trying to stay away from classes at our lectures if you don't like those ones. But again, I would say the lecture experience here at UMass isn't like you're in a class and the professor doesn't know your name. Like you definitely have the opportunity to interact with professors over office hours. Each professor has like a teaching assistant or TA that you can also network with and help with, who's also like your age. So it may be easier to like ask the TA a question during their office hours versus the professor in the middle of class. So you have an opportunity, depending on if you're a more introverted student or extroverted student. We have different hands-on learning experiences at UMass, different labs, experiential learning, different research, so on and so forth. I think when we think of like research and STEM, we think of it being STEM, but like as a freshman here at UMass, you can step on campus in that first week and do research in anything you would like. I think we'll talk a little about that more later. People always ask too, I want my student to have a good relationship with their professors. Again, I said this earlier, but my professors are, some of the best people I've met in this world. My professors have helped me get both my internships here at UMass. I'm currently, on my job hunt right now, and they've been a big help, but also like beyond that, I've gotten to know them on a personal level, things that they're doing in their life. My professor actually invited me to Thanksgiving at her house last year, so that was really nice. But these professors aren't just here to like lecture you all day. Like they definitely care about building connections and relationships with students, and they really care about your after college experience. I see so many alumni come back and help. I see so many professors connect with alumni still to this day. So they definitely care, how you're doing classes now, but also, what's next door for you too. So that's a little bit about academics, and we're going to get more into like research and stuff later. But if you have any questions so far, feel free to send them in the chat. If not, okay, your student has had class. Now it's time for them to have some good lunch. I'll pass it off to Silas to get us into lunch.
All right. So for lunch, we are headed to Worcester Dining Commons. Lunch is my favorite part of the day, and I'm excited to be at a school that is ranked #1 in dining and has been for the last 6 years. We're heading to get lunch in Worcester. Worcester is located in our northeast residential area, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how dining works here. If you're worried about your student going hungry, and like how the meal plans will work, I'm going to try and touch on all of those things. So starting off, the default freshman meal plan is going to be something called Unlimited 250. So unlimited meaning you have unlimited swipes. The swipes are what you use to get into all of the 4 dining halls. So Worcester, which we're eating at today, Franklin, which is located in Central, and then Berkshire and Hampshire, which are both located in our Southwest residential area. All 4 of those main dining commons will use swipes, and freshmen are by default given a plan with unlimited swipes. So if you want to get 8 meals in a day, if you want to get 1 meal in a day, you don't have to worry about running out of swipes. The 250, that's part of that unlimited 250 plan, is dining dollars. So the dining dollars are what you're going to use at any of our 52 retail dining locations. So these include things like coffee shops, bakeries, the bake shop up in O Hill. All that kind of stuff is going to be dining dollars, and you are allocated 250 of those. It also includes Blue Wall, which is kind of our food court located in the campus center, which is one of our most central locations on campus. So if you're out and about for classes, you want to stop and get a burrito from Tamales in Blue Wall, then that's going to be dining dollars as well. Just to talk a little bit about hours for the dining halls. So Worcester is open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Franklin is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Berkshire's open 11 a.m. to midnight, and then Hamp is going to be open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. So lots of different hours, and it does run continuously through that time period. So if you want to stop and get a meal at 3:30 in the afternoon, you don't have to worry about a transitional period between the lunch service and the dinner service, which is really nice to have. Late night, which I mentioned at Worcester and at Berkshire, is what we have from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Every single night of the week. So they'll usually be serving some comfort foods if you want to get a late night snack while you're grinding on a paper, hanging out with friends, then that's an option. We also have a couple food trucks that run around campus, Baby Burke and Baby Burke 2. And these will use your dining dollars, but they kind of roam around campus. A couple nights a week, they're parked right outside of my dorm, so I often stop and get onion rings from there. So really just so many options. And we're not only ranked #1 for our options, but also for how we accommodate students with different needs. So we're very good about meeting any dietary restrictions. So whether it be halal, kosher, any kind of allergies, there are placards above every single dish that have information about all of the food that you're eating, all the ingredients, and any allergy information you might need. It also has a healthfulness meter. So if you're worried about keeping a healthy diet, then you can check the healthfulness meter and make sure that you're eating things that work for you. We also do a lot of fun events as part of our dining. Ways to kind of spice up the menu every once in a while. So for Lunar New Year this past year, we had a lot of traditional Chinese food prepared by a lot of our Chinese chefs. Every Halloween, we do surf and turf. So every student will receive a full lobster and a piece of steak. So we probably go through 20 or 30,000 lobsters each Halloween, but great tradition, really shows that UMass cares about preparing good food. And we also will host dining competitions sometimes. So with the Princeton Review and in collaboration with a number of other top dining colleges, we'll host dining competitions where our top chefs will compete against some of the other chefs, and students will have an opportunity to try some of that food. So really just a lot of great stuff going on with dining, and you really can create your own dining experience. So no need to worry about your student going hungry at any point here at UMass.
All right, your student has gone to class, grabbed a quick lunch, and now it's time to get some homework done in. There are plenty of different study spaces on campus. A really popular one, I would say, is South College. South College is a recently renovated building. It has plenty of classrooms and lounge areas, so your student can choose to study by themselves, they can study with their friends, and they get a really nice view of campus in doing so. South College is pretty centrally located on campus, but we do have other spots for your student. There are lounges even in like a dorm hall, which is really convenient if you don't feel like leaving your room or your dorm that much. And there also is a library. Our library is a really good resource for students. There are a couple of different options. Every other floor is a quiet floor, meaning it is absolutely dead silent. Even if you open your backpack, you might get a weird look or two. But the importance of quiet floors is that you really get to focus on your studying. So if your student is someone that likes to work with absolutely no noise, they have that option. If they are someone that likes more collaborative environment, if you have a learning commons in our library, it's our bottommost floor, and there are different noise levels in terms of collaboration. So if there's a little bit of noise required, there's an area for that. If there's a lot of hustle and bustle required, there's an area for that. So this makes sure that your student is working in the way that they feel the most productive, and they will get to know that throughout their semesters here at UMass. And the best part of all these different study spots is the fact that there is food there. For instance, the library has a procrastination station. It is very, very correctly named because I do sometimes like to procrastinate my work. I'll grab a quick coffee and then sit down at the procrastination station, which is just a cafe, grab my coffee with my dining dollars and get my work done. It's a really good way to just make sure I am eating and I am doing something besides just like sitting down and grinding on work all day. The library also has peer tutoring services. In order to be a peer tutor, you just need to have an A- or above in the class, and then you can sign up to be a tutor. This is a really great way for students to get involved on campus in terms of a job, but it's also a little less daunting for students to ask another peer who may be, say, a year or two older than them rather than a graduate TA or even a professor for help, even though they are very welcoming. Initially, I know last semester I was a little daunted to go to my professor's office hours. So tutoring is completely free and it's done at the library with your peers. They can also be done remotely. So it's a very convenient way to sort of get help and also just meet new people who may be in your major and who have taken this class right before you. Aside from the library, aside from South College, there are outdoor spaces on campus. When the weather was really gorgeous this past week, I saw so many people just sitting on a bench, sitting on like a red chair outside, just reading, doing their textbook notes. It was really just a nice vibe on campus to see everyone sort of doing the same thing in different areas. The Integrated Learning Center is a really popular area to get your work done. It's also a very popular area for classes. So a lot of students will have a class there and just find a little perch outside to just get their work done. And the Eisenberg Innovation Hub is one of the last final areas that I will be sharing. So this is a really nice space for your student because it's a lot of open space and the building itself is beautiful. It's also located in Eisenberg. So if your student is a business major or in the Eisenberg School of Management, their classes will be right there and they can study and do work right after. The design building is another really fun area on campus. Another gorgeous building located by a dining hall as well. So again, your student will be able to go to class, get food, find a place to work without having to trek all around campus. Everything is located right pretty close to each other. Your student will always have food and they'll always have a place to get their work done in whatever manner they like to do so. And I will be passing it back to Bree.
Awesome. So we've ate, we've studied, we've gone to class then studied. So you're going to realize your student has so much to do outside of the classroom and has free time as well. Like it's not just like how in high school, you're in class from like 7 in the morning to 2:30 p.m. Like you're going to have breaks throughout the day. You're going to have evenings, weekends, things to do. So just going to share a little about that. I'll start off by showing this video of our rec center. Actually, we do have a rec center here on campus. It's our main gym on campus. It's free for all students on campus as well. You just present your little U card, which you'll learn all about when you come to the Ready of the U session. But it has different floors for weight rooms. We have an indoor track, badminton court, volleyball, basketball. We have group fitness classes. I would say probably that's the best thing here at UMass, the group fitness classes. I remember freshman year, I was doing Zumba with my best friend all the time. I'm terrible at Zumba, but it was just a fun way to stay active with some friends. Now I love doing spin. One of our spin classes the other day was like Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj, and the music was just amazing. So you'll have all these different opportunities to do here at the rec center. And again, it's free to all students. We also have clubs that you can join. You heard us mention earlier some of the clubs that we are a part of, but there's over 330 RSOs here. Some of them are religious-based, cultural-based, political-based, maybe special interest-based. I think Slice mentioned like the squirrel watching one or the lettuce head eating club. Definitely have your more quirky ones like that if you're interested in. But you'll have the opportunity to join all these clubs. They have an activities expo in the beginning of each semester where you can come sign up. I think I signed up for 20 clubs, my freshman year. It's nice to say you sign up for 20 clubs. It's hard to be a part of 20 clubs. I think I'm a part of like 3 to 4 of them now. But that was one of the things I loved about high school. I love staying involved and like doing things outside of the classroom. So your student has the opportunity to like continue to be that person who's like involved in so many different things, gets to try different avenues here at UMass. I'd also say that joining the club is the quickest way for your student to be a part of a community. I definitely think like coming to college, not even just UMass, but any college, you may like not know where to start, like not know where to find friends. Like joining the club is the number one way to find people who have similar interests as you, similar cultural backgrounds, so on and so forth as you. It's just a great place to kind of hit the ground and start running. We also have Greek life here on campus. About 8 to 10% of our student population is actually involved in Greek life here. That ranges from Pan-Hellenic to D9. We have Honors College 1. We have specific business fraternities. It's a small number, but it is mighty, as 8 to 10% still equals about 3,000 plus students. So that opportunity is here for you as well. Talking about internships and jobs, UMass has Handshake, which is like our version of LinkedIn. So it's pretty much like you, as a UMass student, already have employers and people who want to specifically hire you already because you're a UMass student. So, you get to put filters on the website and say, I want a job in Boston, that's for the summer, that's remote or in person. Like you get to put all these filters. I've been using that right now, even to look for jobs. But again, it's just people who specifically are targeting UMass students. It updates daily. You could message recruiters on there. A lot of recruiters also come to campus, but then they'll message you on Handshake saying like, hey, I'm coming to campus in a week. Like, would love to catch up and chat. So just another avenue to network here. We also have different jobs opportunities on campus. So, you could work at the dining hall, you could work at the library. We talked about being a tutor. You can work at, some of our resource offices, our campus store. You could be a PVTA driver. I think that's the highest paid job on campus. So if you want to drive the bus on campus, you'll make the most money. Our rec center hires, our Mullen Center hires. This job of being a tour guide, you can get hired for. You find different communities. I found some of my best friends being a tour guide. So I kind of got lucky getting a job and some best friends along the way. But you'll be able to find all of these jobs on our student job board. Your student has access to that. It's not something they have to sign up for or log into. Like as a UMass student, you have access to that job board. So your student will be able to find different opportunities. While they're looking at those opportunities, they'll be able to see, is it on campus? How much does it pay? They'll give a contact information, a description of the job, so on and so forth. So, your student can help pay for the tuition. Not all the responsibility falls on the parent. So they can find a job here on campus. We also have multiple student-run businesses here on campus. We actually have 7, which I believe is the most or the second most in the country. So I actually live in one of the buildings where the student-run businesses is, Sweets and More. It's a cafe with like milkshakes, chocolates, delicious, all like desserts you can think of. And that's run all by students. So they do their own scheduling, their own financing. They do their own marketing, promotion, budgeting, all of that good stuff. It's made them, mini entrepreneurs. So if you want to start a student-run business here on campus, you can. We actually just opened another one, I believe. So we might be at 8 student-run businesses now for, people of color and who need certain hair products, so on and so forth. That has started here on campus as well. So we opened like a little beauty shop where you can come buy all the products you need as a person of color. So UMass is always, finding new creative things for our students to do. And yeah, it just makes me proud to be a UMass student that these opportunities are still there. But that is enough about outside of the classroom. I'll pass it off to Slides to get us into some of the campus resources we have.
Thank you, Bree. All right, so yeah, just to talk a little bit about campus resources that we have here at UMass. So we're going to be visiting the library today and talking a little bit about the resources offered at the library. And then we're going to be talking about some other resources that we have on campus. But starting off with the library, we have a lot of critical resources within our library that students choose to take advantage of. First is the Tutoring Center. So the Learning Resource Center is located on the 10th floor of the library. And that's just kind of your one-stop shop for everything tutoring. So let's say that you wanted to take astronomy, but you thought it was going to be astrology and then realized it was a physics class, and you're behind in the course. The LRC, Learning Resource Center, will have tutors that are there to support you. Tutors will have had to have gotten an A- or better in the class to be a tutor. So you know that you're getting a qualified student to help your student out when it comes to their classes. The second resource that we have on the same floor of the library is our Hours Office. So this is Office of Undergraduate Research and Studies. Our Hours Office is here to connect students with the tons of research opportunities that we have on campus. We're proud to say that UMass is an R1 Carnegie level research institution, so we receive the highest level of federal funding from the government to do research on campus, and we're actually third in Massachusetts behind MIT and Harvard for research. So really great to be up there with those world-class universities when it comes to our research, and we're really great about getting undergrads involved with professors' research as well. In the basement of our library, we have a writing center. So if you're, no matter what stage of development your paper is in, whether it be the outlining phase, the rough draft phase, or the final draft phase that you're going to turn into your professor in an hour, the Writing Center is there to help you, and they've been known to raise students' grade a full letter grade just by bringing the paper to the Writing Center. So lots of very qualified writers there that can help you out, help your student out with anything they need on the writing front. Another resource that we have in our library is our archives. So our W.E.B. Du Bois Library is named after W.E.B. Du Bois, not only because he is such a great civil rights activist, founder of the NAACP, but also because he donated almost all of his archives and primary source documents to our library. So really exciting that we have access to those. I know some professors will give students projects where they can only use primary source documents from our 25th floor. So really great that those are still alive and well in our library. Moving outside of our library, we have a number of resources. I'm only going to touch on a few, but there are tons of other resources that you can explore by looking on the UMass website. But to touch on a couple of main ones, the first big one is CMAS, so Center for Multicultural Advancement and Student Success. This runs 4 cultural centers at UMass, the Latinx American Cultural Center, the Yuri Kochiyama Cultural Center, the Malcolm X Cultural Center, and the Josephine White Eagle Cultural Center. And these are just really in place to assist students of color or from different backgrounds with their college and with success here at UMass. So really just kind of a home base for those students. They also assist first-gen, multiracial, low-income, or people of color here at UMass. So really just similar to those cultural centers, but offering academic support, cultural enrichment, success coaching, more stuff like that. And they also have an intercultural dialogue program, which is really cool. It prepares students for leadership in such a diverse world and such a globalized world as we're seeing now. Another big resource that we have at UMass is our Stonewall Center. So this is one of our LGBTQIA+ organizations or resources on campus. It was actually one of the first establishments in the entire country for this population on a college campus. So we're proud to have been one of the first leading the wave for that. UMass is actually ranked one of the best universities in the country on the Pride Index, and we offer ally training, a weekly newsletter, numerous resources, annual events, and meeting spaces for the community and allies. Moving over to the religious side of things, we have a number of religious resources for students to take advantage of. First of all, our Newman Center is the Catholic center on campus. It has a cafeteria and a chapel, as well as a theology library and a study lounge for students to take advantage of. We have a Hillel House, which is a Jewish temple and offers housing to Jewish students. And then in the surrounding area, we have Methodist, Baptist, Lutheran, Unitarian, Mormon, Islam, and many more other houses of worship that students can get to using our PVTA bus system. Just a couple more resources. We have our Center for Women and Community, and then we have our Center for Men and Masculinity. The CWC was created in 1972 as a safe space for people of all identities, and it offers sexual assault counseling, a 24/7 hotline, and a leadership network. And then the CMM provides an open space for men to talk and reflect on predominant issues and masculinity in their life as a college student. So really great opportunities for students to take advantage of. And then a couple more: disability services provide support for students with any and all types of disabilities. So if you need testing accommodations, if you need extra time doing some assignments, then they're there to be an advocate for you with your professors. And then finally, we have our Center for Counseling and Psychological Health. They offer individual therapy and also group therapy workshops. And each student gets 4 free individual sessions each year, or 8 free group sessions each year. So really great that UMass is advocating for mental health, offers these resources for students to maintain their mental health, because everyone knows that being a college student is very stressful, can increase anxiety and depression. So the CCPH is really there to ensure that your student is going to be healthy both mentally and then also succeeding in the classroom as a result of that.
Already, your student has had a long day, you finally come to visit them, and they're telling you that they want to go downtown for dinner. So you're like, you have never went dining, why? And they're like, because you have to check it out. So they take you downtown to downtown Amherst. It is ranked one of the best college towns for a reason. Downtown Amherst is an absolutely gorgeous area, and we are surrounded by students of other colleges, specifically Amherst College if you're going to downtown Amherst. So your student will be in an area with other students, and it's very safe and it's very lively. In terms of things to do downtown, literally just before this webinar, my friend and I hopped on the bus and went to Black Sheep. It's one of my favorite places downtown. They have amazing sandwiches. So if you and your student do end up visiting campus, I do highly recommend Black Sheep for a quick sandwich, for a bite for the commute. In terms of getting places off campus, there are a couple different ways. Downtown Amherst is about a 15-minute walk from campus. Your student can also ride a bike if they are able to do so. There is also the PVTA. The PVTA stands for Pioneer Valley Transit Authority. It is free for all students, in which case there is an app called the Transit app. The Transit app will tell you where the bus is, where it'll pick you up, where it can drop your student off, and all the different ways your student can get someplace. And the PVTA is really great for just getting around to downtown Amherst, but also the surrounding areas of campus, such as Northampton and Hadley. Northampton is like our little city, just like downtown Amherst. It's a lot of cute little shops, locally owned businesses, a lot of indie shops, and Northampton's a really good way to just sort of get out of town for a little bit, try out something new. PVTA will take you there. We obviously do have Ubers and such, and you are allowed, or your student is allowed to have a car all 4 years on campus, as long as they buy a parking pass and they park in their designated lot. But with the PVTA, it's very convenient to get where you need to be without having too much of a hassle. I personally love going downtown every weekend. My friends and I always go to Black Sheep, like I mentioned. We also get Antonio's. I'm from New Jersey. I love my pizza, and Antonio's has really, really good pizza. So again, if you and your student are in the area, I definitely recommend Antonio's Pizza. There is also Vivi's Bubble Tea, a really cute place. There's the Works Cafe. So your student, if they are looking for more study spots, looking for a way to get off campus, a way to meet new people, just branch out a little bit. Downtown Amherst and its surrounding areas are the way to be. In terms of just looking for simple things like groceries, we do have Route 9 in Hadley. The PVTA will take you to Hadley. It will drop you right off by the Target, and there's a Trader Joe's in the area. There's a Walmart in the area, McDonald's. There's some fast food, but also just basic groceries that your student would need if they just are craving a specific snack from Target, for instance. And they're, again, able to take the PVTA there. And that's just for transportation around campus and in the surrounding area. The PVTA does run within campus. So in terms of getting around campus, your student can choose to walk, they can choose to bike. I've seen people with like skateboards and like that board with like the one wheel under it, a lot of different ways, but they also could take the PVTA from one end of campus to another, especially if they are living up on Orchard Hill and don't feel like walking the hill one day. In terms of other places, other ways to get around, not only on campus, but off campus, we do have the Peter Pan bus system. Students do get a discount for this. So if your student is living in Boston or like a little more out of state, they can hop on the Peter Pan, We have a bus stop right on campus. It's very convenient for students to get on and off to get to wherever they need to be. And if your student is interested in taking the train, there is an Amtrak station in Northampton. I have done this multiple times. So you just hop on the PBTA and your student would just end up in Northampton, very, very close to the bus stop. It's a quick little walk to the bus stop from wherever they are on campus. Once they get to Northampton, it's a quick walk to the Amtrak train stop, and the Amtrak will take them to wherever they need to be on the East Coast. So transportation on and off campus is no issue at all. There are plenty of things to do, plenty of different restaurants. Downtown has a lot of different open mic nights and different venues where there's karaoke, lip syncing. So it's a very, very lively place to be. And it's why it's rated one of the best college towns in America. And your student will have absolutely no issue getting to wherever they need to be. I will pass it back to Bree.
Awesome. So this is our last slide of the presentation. If you have any questions, again, feel free to send them in. We'll get right to it after this. But had a very long day, but we still have some time at the end of the day. So we have an evening activity. It could range from attending a hockey game to going to the movies, again, or if you're interested in visiting places off campus like we just talked about. But this is our student union right here where a lot of events happen as well. I believe $62 million went into this building. My freshman year was rubble and we were walking through construction. So to see how beautiful it is now is kind of like the best gift I could get as a senior. It opened right after the pandemic, or virtual classes became in person. It's kind of like the student living room on campus. It has our black box theater. Different movies are played here. I believe Black Panther, the second one, was actually streamed here before it was even in theaters. And it was either for like free or like $5 for students. So, you get the discount for movies here too at UMass for very good movies too. We'll have different performances here. Clubs will hold different events here, like Afro Ball was held here for our students. UMass Got Talent has been held here. But again, it's also just a place for students to meet in between classes. I'm always meeting my friends here, grabbing a bite to eat. Blue Wall's right next door, so I'll grab food and then come study with them or just spend time. During World Cup, a lot of students were in here watching on our TVs the World Cup together. But aside the student union, there's tons of activities you can do. Attend a hockey game, a basketball game. We have improv, a cappella, comedy shows, specials, different guest speakers come here on campus, different band performances. Our band is very well renowned, so we'll have a lot of different performances there. And then my favorite thing about UMass is the concerts. We've had artists from Cardi B, Jack Harlow, Little Baby, Meek Mill. I saw my favorite artist, A Boogie, last year. That was really fun for me. And if I had seen A Boogie back home, it would have been almost 3 times the price it was here. We've had different stand-up comedians like Kevin Hart, Trevor Noah. So perks of going to, a flagship state schools, you get really good artists, really good names that come to visit here as well. But that brings us to the end of our presentation. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to send them in now. And I guess, I believe Natalie is our asking questions right now. Natalie, if there's any questions that you would like us to answer out loud.
Yeah, so there was a few that I had marked. Hold on just a second. So one of the questions was, do freshmen move in before upperclassmen or at the same time?
So I believe freshmen actually move in before upperclassmen. There's move in is usually about 4 to 5 days, and the first 2 days are for freshmen. So that'll be dedicated to the freshman move in, as well as before you come on campus, you get to explore before everyone else comes on. All the upperclassmen, so they'll be doing a bunch of different welcome events, carnivals, so on and so forth, before the upperclassmen come in. Any other questions we have for today?
We have a question about safety, what the crime statistics are for campus, and how safe campus is in general.
Yeah, Silas or Uma, do you guys want to talk about safety? I know we might not have the specific stats on hand, but we can definitely look for a link. But if either one of you want to talk about safety here at UMass.
Yeah, I can take that one. So we are proud to say that UMass has been ranked the safest college campus in Massachusetts by US News. So we have a couple safeguards in place to ensure that. First, we have UMass specific emergency personnel. So we have police officers and paramedics that are there to assist everyone. We also, every single dorm is locked 24/7 and can only be accessed through your student ID. if you live in that building. So that's just a way to ensure that only students that live in the building or their guests are in the building at a specific time. So you can't just walk into our dorm buildings. On top of that, we are blue light campus. So anywhere you are on campus, you can see a blue light, and each blue light is equipped with a couple of buttons. One's an emergency button that'll bring emergency personnel to your side within 90 seconds. And one is just like if you need help for any reason with anything, it'll bring two UMass cadets, one male and one female, to your side, and they can help you with anything you need. A lot of that is just getting a walk back to your dorms if you're lost, or if you don't know how to get back to where you need to go on campus. The third safeguard that we have in place in terms of safety is that every single dorm will have a security officer stationed inside, starting at 8 p.m. and then going till 12 a.m. on weekdays and 3 a.m. on the weekends. So they just keep a running tally of who's in which dorm at what time, keep track of the coming and goings, and just making sure they know who has guested in their guests and not. So in case something comes up, they do know who's in each dorm building, and they're able to address any concerns from there. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, and I know like UMass Police releases their own report every year, and I know as a UMass student you do have access to it. So that might be something to like research as well. But I know they do release a report every year of pertaining to certain crimes or anything. So if you're looking for specific statistics like that, it would be in that report.
It's actually required by law that all state or all colleges and universities post their statistics, so you can actually take a look at UMass Amherst and comparison. But as was stated earlier, we are cited as the #1 safest campus in Massachusetts.
Any other questions? Oh.
Yes, do we have a final question before we wrap up?
Yes, we had a question about studying abroad and just the general opportunities, the different opportunities that UMass offers.
Yeah, I can talk really quickly about that. And again, if you're looking like for more in depth of more opportunities here at UMass, we do offer like virtual sessions or in person for a tour. But quickly, just a little about Study Away. We do have 3 options for Study Away. So we have our 5 college consortium, we have domestic exchange, and then obviously study abroad. So through the 5 college consortium, you have access to the 4 other liberal arts in the Pioneer Valley here at UMass. That's Amherst College, Hampshire College, Smith, and Mount Holyoke. You can take 2 classes, I think, at max each semester at those colleges. So it's kind of like not only are you a student here at UMass, but you're a student there. I know people have taken a hip hop dance class somewhere in one of the 4 colleges. And there's a lot of Afro-Am classes. I was interested in the classes at the other colleges, as well as there's like a weird skydiving class somewhere in one of the colleges. So if you'd like to take that too, you can. Yep, Hampshire College. There you go. I stay away from that because I do not plan on skydiving anytime soon. But yeah, you have the opportunity to join like the clubs and organizations there. They had a bunch of events yesterday during the day as well. So you as a student have access and can attend those too. For domestic exchange, we have almost all 50 states. We always miss one every year. You can't blame us. But I would say Hawaii is the most popular because who wouldn't want to study there? And we have a really good program for students interested in sustainability in Montana. So weirdly, Montana is also really popular. But you know, your financial aid follows you. Like really important that if you want to study abroad or study domestically, you know, you can afford it. So UMass allows you to have your financial aid follow you, as well as you pay the cheaper of the 2. So let's say I want to study in good old California and I was looking at the price of their tuition and UMass's tuition, I would just pay the cheaper of the 2. So if Cali's tuition is cheaper, I'd pay that. Or if UMass's tuition is, I'd pay that. And it's a really good opportunity to take some time away from campus and explore different places. Because, you know, I don't know what other time I'd be in Cali if it wasn't here at UMass. And then we also have, you know, study abroad. So we have over 300 countries that you could study to. We have our international programs office that will help you hold your hand step by step of here's the college, here's the classes, here's what you need to pack, here's your visa, so on and so forth. I know so many students who, you know, have looked back and said like, wow, not only did I enjoy like being abroad, but like I learned more about myself. I learned so much about culture. People who take a language really enjoy it, but also people who don't even know or want to learn another language just enjoy being in a new space and new opportunities. And I think with COVID, you know, you never know when things are going to get shut down or you can't travel. So I would say all of my best friends were lucky enough to study abroad this past semester. During COVID, you know, I missed a lot of UMass time, so I didn't want to leave UMass, but the opportunity is definitely there. And, you know, you have resources to help you as well.
Fantastic. I just want to thank all of our students so much for participating in the panel, and to let our attendees know tonight that they continue to be available, which is exciting, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So what's next? Definitely have your student continue to prepare for making that decision. And I want to actually, before I even talk about filing the FAFSA, is encourage everyone to go ahead and talk and register for or attend Destination Days, which is coming up. You can register for that through their portal. They can also register for any of our admissions pieces as well. You will then learn some more about Ready for the U. That is our orientation and transition piece that we offer to our students. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. Your students need to continue checking their email so they're able to be aware of all deadlines, expectations, and opportunities as well. So in terms of next steps, let's talk about that. The next step would definitely be to complete the FAFSA if your student has not already done that. Yes, I know it says March 1st is a deadline, but there still is time to submit that. And I really do encourage everyone to go ahead and that way have a full conversation with financial aid regarding what it looks like in terms of financial commitment for your student and for yourselves. We know it's a really important piece as you are looking to make that decision. Once you have made a decision, we hope you choose UMass Amherst, in which case, please, 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 the deposit deadline is May 1st, and that is a firm deadline. So students need to make that deposit in order to secure their space. Once that happens, they'll have a opportunity to register for Ready for the U. Again, that's our orientation and transition for students, coming to them through their email and their portal. They will in June be able to submit their preference for housing. Students are required to live on campus their first year. So it's important to get that information in and to be able to express their desires that we're best able to meet them. Also, your students still need to graduate. Yes, they have been accepted, but they need to graduate from high school. Typically, a high school will send us a final transcript confirming a student's graduation, but ultimately it is your student's responsibility to make sure that that box has been checked. They can do that through their portal. So all things through email and portal. Again, hoping that you're able to attend some of our either in-person or virtual admitted student activities, whether that be Destination Days, admitted student days, and you can find that all on our website, all the information. And again, registration is through our the student portal. All really important stuff. This recording will be posted on our website, so you can revisit the information, or again, share it with someone who wasn't able to attend today. You will have more questions. So let's talk about how to stay connected with us and all the ways that you can learn more information. Certainly sign up for any of our social media. A great way to hear what the conversations are in terms of every day. But also, if you have questions, certainly my colleagues and myself in the admissions office are happy to answer questions. We also have, of course, our international admission staff for our students who are from overseas. If you would like to ask some more questions of our incredibly knowledgeable tour guides, tours@admissions.umass.edu is a phenomenal resource. Not only will you get your question answered, but ideally we'll have someone answer your question who has specific personal experience with whatever you are seeking to understand better. So a really great opportunity overall. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. Again, I can't express enough my sincere congratulations to your student and yourselves. We're so excited that you continue to consider UMass Amherst for full enrollment. And with that, have a fabulous afternoon. Go UMass.